So now we are going to talk about standard trigonometric limits. Trigonometric limits. Okay. Now, before I talk about standard trigonometric limits, I would like you to recall Maclaurin series expansions. Okay. Or let me name it like this. Some frequently used series expansions. Frequently used series expansions. Okay. Now all these expansions, they come from, or most of these expansions come from a series which you will learn in your undergraduate, which is called the Maclaurin series. Maclaurin's series. Now we don't have to go into details of it because the process of getting to Maclaurin series is quite lengthy, because before understanding Maclaurin series, you need to understand what is Taylor series or what is Taylor's theorem. Okay. Then you have to understand Lagrange's form of remainder. And then for understanding Taylor series, you need to understand Cauchy mean value theorem and mean value theorems concepts, which I'm not going to go into because it is beyond your syllabus right now. So I'm listing down certain series which you need to remember, because many a times these series will make your evaluation of limits pretty simple. Okay, so if you know them, that will make your life pretty easy. So I'll start with what is a Maclaurin series, because many people keep asking me, what is this Maclaurin series? So Maclaurin series is basically a series which is converting a function into a polynomial form like this. What is f dash 0? F dash 0 means derivative of the function calculated at 0. Okay. So this is a Maclaurin series. It goes on and on forever. One thing I would like to tell you is that Maclaurin series, etc., they work under a certain radius of convergence. You cannot convert the entire function into polynomial. Okay. They work under a given interval of x. Okay. That you will see when we are taking up the series. So that is called the radius of convergence. Radius of convergence is that interval of x where you can actually write a function or actually mimic a function as a polynomial. So here, what are you doing here on the right side? You're trying to write it as a polynomial. Many people ask me, sir, why do we need to do that? Because polynomials are much easy to study, because they're continuous and differentiable functions. So many calculus things you can apply very, very easily on them. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of a function is undefined? Function is undefined for a point. For example, tan x is undefined for odd multiples of pi by 2. You can't say use the fact that a function is undefined. Undefined means so hai nahi. The function itself is not there. So why are you talking about it? Anurag, your wording is not framed properly. There's nothing called a function is undefined. Function is undefined at a point or in an interval. Okay. That will not be stated as your radius of convergence. How can you say that radius of convergence will have many points where the function is undefined? This is a sheer assumption from you, right? Did I say that radius of convergence will have points where the function is undefined? Did I say like that? How can you make such an assumption? Your question is null and void. Your question is just meaningless to me. Radius of convergence contains those values of x for which the function is defined and can be written as a Maclaurin series. I never said the function is undefined in a radius of convergence. Okay. No, Madhav, I think Anurag is asking some question which he has not been able to frame properly. Think about your question, Anurag, will come back to it. You don't have to know this actually. I could have easily skipped it. I could have easily told no series at all, I'll tell you, and I'll start solving the question. But if you are a JEE aspirant, there would be a need to know the series to solve certain questions. Okay, that is why I am trying to talk about this series. Okay, let's talk about few of the functions which can be written in a Maclaurin series form. Okay, the first being a to the power x. A to the power x can be written as 1 plus x ln a whole square by 2 factorial, x ln a whole cube by 3 factorial, and so on all the way till infinity. Okay. Now, if I don't mention any radius of convergence, that means you can take any value of x and you can mimic a, you can say, left hand side function with a polynomial which is on the right side. So in short, just understand that I'm trying to mimic. You understand the meaning of mimic? Mimic means trying to, try to play the role of that particular function. So I'm trying to mimic a exponential function with a polynomial function. But this mimicry can only be done under a certain range of value of x, where the function has to be defined. Okay, Anurag, don't worry. Okay, I'll not give you an interval where the function itself is not defined. That is pointless. So under that radius of convergence, this mimicry will happen. It will not be able to mimic it for the entire intervals of x. Getting my point? Is this simple English statement clear to everybody? I'm not even saying a mathematical statement over here. Okay. Now, out of this, another series comes out where A is E. Yeah, Aditya, the reason is you are writing something which is infinitely big on the right side. Correct? So the chances is that the series may become divergent there. Again, the story boils down to convergent and divergent. If you're writing something to infinitely many terms, it may happen that the series will become divergent. So the left hand side will be convergent, but the right hand side will become a divergent. And in that case, you cannot write such a series because the left and the right are not complying with each other. Clear now? Okay. Are you getting my point? See, let's say I think I gave this example to you in the bridge course. Let's say I design a robot. How do you call it in English? Now this robot can do only certain activities that man can do. Probably it can pick an object, it can tighten something, probably it can scribble, correct? But it cannot do many things that man can do actually, right? So it has its own radius of convergence. It can converge with man only to a certain set of activities. It cannot do everything that man does, correct? Are you getting my point? Now you're able to connect. So your left hand side is your actual function. A to the power x is your actual function. Your right hand side is a robot which is trying to mimic it. But it can mimic it only till certain intervals of x. Are you getting my point? It cannot mimic it for the entire real number, right? Of course, it can mimic it in some of the functions, but I'm just trying to explain what is the meaning of radius of convergence. Radius of convergence is that interval of x where the polynomial function on the right side of the equal to will start behaving as the non-polynomial function, or whatever is the function on the left side, whether it is exponential, logarithmic, trigonometric function like that. That interval of x is called the radius of convergence. Now, I believe we are spending too much time talking about things which is not even going to be asked in JEE. Okay, so let's understand this series just for the purpose of applying it to solve questions. Okay, because this is something which is going to come in your first year of engineering or probably your pure maths course that you're going to take up. All right. So a special case of a to the power x is e to the power x, where a is actually e. Okay, as you can see, ln a will actually become 1. Similarly, x ln e will become x square only. So this will become x square by 2 factorial and so on. This is very important. This is very important. You may require it in your future problem solving also. Okay. Next is ln 1 plus x. Now here I would like to say that its radius of convergence is only between -1 to 1. Only in this interval you are going to, or you can use your Maclaurin series for this. And this series goes like this. Okay. Please watch the alternating plus minus sign here, and please watch out that there is no factorial in the denominator. So please copy this correctly. After solving few questions, people realize that, oh sir, there was no factorial in ln 1 plus x. Oh, I copied it wrong. Okay, so please copy it very carefully. Similarly, if you have, ln 1 minus x and ln 1 minus x, then the radius of convergence for this guy will be -1 to 1, including -1 but excluding 1. Okay, so only in this interval your polynomial function will mimic logarithmic function. Okay. This is not a Maclaurin series, but please note this down here. X to the power n minus a to the power n by x minus a. This is an important expansion that you should be knowing. This goes like, okay, n is a natural number here. This goes like x to the power n minus 1 plus x to the power n minus 2a, x to the power n minus 3a square, and so on till a to the power n. Have you all done GP, geometric progression, ever in your life? Class 10th? Yes, sir. Okay, so you know about it. So can you prove this by geometric progression? Yes, sir. It is very simple. So what I can do is, let me take x to the power n common. So it becomes 1 minus a by x to the power n. Here also, if I take x out, it becomes 1 minus a by x. Okay. Now, if you see, I don't know how many of you can connect to this. This is actually same as writing something like this: a 1 minus r to the power n by 1 minus r. Do you recall that this is a GP formula? Correct. If this is a GP formula, that means it should give you a term like ar square all the way, right? So the same thing is happening over here also. If you replace your x to the power n minus 1 with a, so this will be your a. Okay, so ar will be this into a by x. That will give you this term. Okay, so this term is this term is this. Next will be ar square. Ar square will be this square. So that will boil down to this, and so on. Okay. Anyways, just note this down if at all it is required in some problem solving. If you are not aware of GP, no worries. It is not going to harm you. Next, I think I have to go to the next slide. Can I go to the next slide? that comes from the process of method of difference, the GP formula. We'll take up when the right time comes. It is in the chapter sequence, series, and progressions. Shashwat wants me to scroll to the right. Is that fine, Shashwat? Done? Okay, thank you. Next is your sin x. Sin x Maclaurin series goes like x minus x cubed by 3 factorial, x to the power 5 by 5 factorial, minus x to the power 7 by 7 factorial, ... till infinity. Please note, this will work when your x is in radians. This formula will only work when your x is in radians. Similarly for cos x, just to remind you, it was 1 minus x square by 2 factorial, x4 by 4 factorial, minus x6 by 6 factorial, and so on till infinity. Again, this formula works when x is in radians. Tan x is x plus x cubed by 3 plus 2 by 15 x to the power 5. The next term that is there is 17 by 315 x to the power 7. But trust me, you won't need that far. You only need the first two. Sometimes the third one. Okay, you don't have to know the complete pattern actually. Now here the radius of convergence is your mod x should be less than pi by 2. So only under this restriction of x, you can make a polynomial function mimic a tan x function. Okay, it's obvious we can't go, we can't even include pi by 2 because tan x becomes undefined at pi by 2, but a polynomial will never become undefined at pi by 2. So that is one activity which tan can do, but polynomial function cannot do on the right side. Okay, so certain activities humans can only do, robots cannot. Okay, make a note of this also in case you require it in future. Sine inverse x expansion goes like this. It's x plus 1 square x cube by 3 factorial. Then it is 1 square 3 square by 5 factorial x to the power 5. Then 1 square 3 square 5 square by 7 factorial x to the power 7, and so on. Please note, sine series works only when your x lies in the interval -1 to 1. Okay, this is actually the domain of the function also. Now I will not talk about cos inverse x expansion because cos inverse is related to sine inverse by this relation. Now don't worry about it. I will talk about it when I do inverse trig functions. Inverse trig functions. It will not be used. Let me tell you, sine inverse, cos inverse will be rarely used. Okay, this also will work under -1 to 1. Write down for tan inverse. Tan inverse will be x minus x cubed by 3 plus x5 by 5 minus dot dot dot. Now, before we move on, I would like to give you a very important news over here. These expansions are not to be used in school. Let me write it in red. Not to be used in school exams. Okay, if you use it in school exams, please do it at the risk of getting a 0. Okay, sad face. What, sir? We studied so much of expansions and can't use it in school also. Yeah, do not use any expansion, Maclaurin series. Of course, binomial is allowed. Binomial is allowed. I'm not restricting binomial, but no Maclaurin series to be used in any form to solve any question in school. Because that is not there in your NCERT syllabus, Adrija. Okay. See, I'll tell you the mindset. I'm myself an examiner of ISC board, not CBSE board, ISC board. Okay. We are formally trained every year. Okay, so every year we are told one thing which is very common is that if it is deleted, then it's a different issue. But we are told that, see, you can use any higher order concepts to solve a simpler question. But if an examiner who is sitting in a very remote town in India gets your paper to correct, and if he sees something which is not there in NCERT, you are actually on his whims and fancies to get marks, right? Let's say you write something which is which is all Greek and Hebrew to me, I don't understand this, even though you probably have used, let's say, a PhD level concept to solve it. It is my right that I don't give you marks. Okay. Then the onus will be on you to claim it. So you'll have to go for a re-examination and all those things. So if you want to get into those pain points, then do it. Okay. So don't use any such things which is not there in your school, NCERT, or whatever is the prescribed textbook that you have. Okay. Now I think we are now ready to talk about standard trigonometric limits. So let's move on to the next page. I hope you have all copied this down. Guys, don't worry about copying too many things. These formulas are readily available on Google. Just type out Maclaurin series for whichever function you want, and that would be there in your screen. Okay. So let's now talk about standard trig limits. I'll start with few of the simpler ones. Limit of cos x as x tends to 0. Okay. Whether you use expansion or whether you use direct substitution, your answer will always be 1. Okay. Next result is the one which is very important, sin x by x, x tending to 0. This is 1. How do we derive it? I'm sure most of your school teachers would have derived it. The derivation of this goes via a very important theorem on which I'll be giving you many questions also. That theorem is called as the Sandwich theorem. So this proof is based on, I'll write it over here. The proof is based on a theorem which we call as the Sandwich theorem. Okay. Sandwich theorem, also called as the squeeze play theorem, or also called as the pinching theorem. Now, what is this theorem? Let me first explain this to you. I think I had already explained this in the bridge course, but I'll just quickly do it with you again. So let's say there is a function, let's say f of x. Okay. There is another function, let's say h of x. Okay. And there is another function g of x, which is like this. Wow. Okay. So these functions basically satisfy this criteria that f of x is higher than, or you can say, let me write h of x. H of x is lesser than equal to g of x, is lesser than equal to f of x in the neighborhood of x equal to a. In the neighborhood of x equal to a. Now, what does the neighborhood of x equal to a mean? I've already explained this concept in the past also. Neighborhood means an interval which is very close to a. You can say a minus delta to a plus delta interval, where delta is an infinitesimal quantity. Okay. So in the neighborhood of a, as you can see, neighborhood means slightly left and right to a. You realize that your function h is lesser than g and g is lesser than f. Okay, that is number 1. Number 2, let me write a big if over here. Number 2, the limit of h of x as x tends to a and the limit of f of x as x tends to a, both are the same values, let's say L. Okay. So if a function satisfies, or if three functions satisfy this criteria, then Sandwich theorem says that the limit of the function g, which is sandwiched between f and g, g and h and f. So the limit of g, which is sandwiched between h and f, as x tends to a, that will also be L. Now this you can understand very intuitively. Why intuitively? Because if, let's say, if your function f of x, that is the above function, and your below function, both are tending to the same value as x tends to a, then even a function which is sandwiched between them, that will also go to the same value as x tends to a. Okay. So this is a very intuitive thing actually. It doesn't require any rigorous proving. Okay. Now, how do I plan to use this? How do I plan to use this to solve sin x by x as x tending to 1? So let me make, I think I've done this proof with you in the past. So I'll just, make this proof very hasty one. Okay. So let's say I have a unit circle over here. Okay. Whose radius is 1. And let's say I take a small angle x radians in between here. So let me name it. This is A, this is B. Okay. At B, I draw a tangent. At B, I draw a tangent. Tangent means 90 degree here. So that it meets OA extended at C. Okay. Oh, sorry, Anurag. 1 second. This is where you want to copy. Let me know once you're done. Done? L is some value to which both of them are tending to. Some value. You can say, let's say L. Okay. Then even the limit of g of x will also tend to L. Yes, this is there in your school syllabus. Very much. Vaibhav Singh, it is clear? Okay. So now coming back to how I'm trying to use this fact, whatever I've discussed over here, to prove sin x by x tending to 0 is 1. Limit of that is 1. See, in this diagram, I'll basically tell something which is very obvious to you. Can I say area of the triangle OAB will have a lesser area than area of the sector OAB? Okay. Which in turn will have a lesser area than area of the triangle OBC. Now, why equal to is because let's say if I take x as 0, then all the areas will collapse to become a 0. So it can be equal to also. But for any other value of x, can I say area of this triangle will be lesser than the area of this sandwich or pizza, not sandwich. And this will in turn be lesser than the area of the triangle OBC. Correct? Everybody's fine with that? Now, what is the area of the triangle OAB? Now, remember, I told you in the properties of triangle that in a triangle, if you know the adjacent sides and you know the angle between them, the area is given by half into product of the adjacent sides into sine of the angle between them, isn't it? Now, don't ask me how. This is something which we did in the properties of triangles. Okay. And area of the sector we know it's half r square theta. Half r square theta. Theta is x over here. Okay. And what about area of the triangle OBC? From trigonometry, we can say if this angle is x and the base is 1, then BC will be tan of x. Correct? So that will be half base, half, let me write dotted for multiplication, half base into height. Height is tan of x. Anybody has any problem with this? I'm just using geometry to prove it, nothing else. Sir, why are you using geometry, sir? You can use expansions. No, sin x expansion, you just now told us. Of course, we can use expansion. It'll take me 1 second to use expansion. But unfortunately, that proof might not be accepted in school. Anyways, in school, they will not ask you to prove also. But you should know other ways also of proving it. Okay. Now, drop a half from everywhere. If you drop a half from everywhere, this is what you get. Okay. This is what you get. Sir, we aren't taught this proof also. Oh my God. But Koramangala did it. Rajajinagar did it. What about Yeshwanthpur? Oh, you haven't even started this chapter. Okay, good. Then you'll have a upper hand in school. Okay. Now divide throughout with sin x. Divide throughout with sin x. If you divide throughout with sin x, this is what you get. Correct? Now reciprocate every term. Now when you reciprocate every term, remember this will come to the right and 1 by cos x will come to the left in a reciprocal format. Okay, it's obvious. So let's say if x is between 2 and 3, then 1 by x will lie between 1 by 3 to half, right? That's what I did actually. Okay. So now try to compare this. Try to compare this scenario with this scenario. With this scenario. Okay. So when you compare it with this scenario, you would realize this is like your h of x. Okay. This is like your g of x. And this is like your f of x. Correct? Okay. Not only that, you will also see that limit of h of x, that is nothing but limit of cos x. Let me write directly cos x without waste of time. As x tends to 0 is 1, and limit of 1 anyways as x tends to any value will always be 1. So what is happening? The function h and f which are sandwiching g both are tending to the same limit, and that limit is 1. So the function which is sandwiched, that is sin x by x as x tends to 0, that will also become 1, and hence proved. And hence proved. This is your proof for this. Are you getting my point? Any questions here? Okay. Now, this simple fact will never be asked directly. You will need to know the broader interpretation for this. So I'll write down the general perspective of this. So even if you have x tending to a need not be 0. Okay. And you have sine of any function. Okay. Provided there is same function down. Okay. And your function f of x as x tends to, let me write slightly, yeah, where your function f of x as x tends to a tends to 0, then this answer will again be a 1. This is what we need to know. Okay. Many times students are looking for that sin x by x combination. No, it needn't be always sin x by x. Right? It could be sine of any function by the same function down, but provided, my dear students, that function must tend to 0 as x tends to a. Whatever a is that there. Are you getting my point? If that happens, your answer will again be 1. It's very simple. You can substitute your f of x to be y and say it is sine y by y. And as x tends to a, y will tend to 0. So it will become sine y by y tending to 0 form, and that will be 1. Okay. But many times we don't have the, we can't spare that much of time also in, making that kind of simplification. So you need to know the generic, or you can say the general broader perspective of this limit. Are you getting my point? And things will not change even if you raise both sides, both numerator and denominator, to the power of n. It will still remain a 1. It will still remain a 1. Is that fine? Any questions here? Any concerns? Okay. So today we'll do a lot of questions on trig limits also. Sir, it's an indiscriminate form. Do you mean indeterminate form? I've never heard this word, indiscriminate. Yeah, it is an indeterminate form, isn't it? Sine something which is tending to 0 is 0. By 0, that is also 0. So it is tending to 0 by tending to 0, which is an indeterminate form. Okay. So with this, I'll move on to a few more formulas which we need to remember. The third one is your tan x by x tending to 0. That is also 1. Okay. And please do not forget the generic perspective, or in general, you have limit x tending to a tan of any function by the same function, provided, my dear friend, the function f of x as x tends to a should be giving you 0, this result will still give you a 1. Okay. And you can have some powers on them, so don't worry about the powers, but remember one thing, the power here and the power on this function must be the same. Okay. And this function must be the same. Many people ask me, sir, if these functions are not the same but they're tending to 0, will it still give me 1? No, it will not. It will not. It will not give you 1. Okay. A simple question that can be framed to confuse you here. What do you think is limit sine x degrees by x tending to 0? I think I had given this question to you in the bridge course also. Okay. See, just the unit is different. One is in degrees, other is in radians. Correct, Madhav, absolutely. See, you see, this function is tending to 0. No doubt about that. This function is also tending to 0. But are they the same things? No. One is in degrees, other is in radians. If nothing is there, it is in radians, right? So what I have to do in order to solve this question, I need to write it like this. Sine x degrees could be written as pi x by 180 radians. Okay. So now when you are evaluating it, there you understand that this function is different from this. So what we have to do is we need to make the same function over here. So for that, I need to multiply by pi by 180. Then I can say this answer is going to be 1. So 1 into pi by 180, answer will be pi by 180. Okay, so it will not be 1. So please be careful with this. One very derived formula from this, which is very commonly asked in school, is limit of 1 minus cos x by x square. Guys, I would like you to note this down because it is going to be heavily used. Okay. I think almost every 4th or 5th question you will find that this expression is coming up. Okay. That's why we normally discuss this with the students. Now, how to prove it? There are a lot of ways to prove it. One is by the use of expansion, which I will avoid using till I can. Other is by the use of your trig identities. 1 minus cos x is 2 sine square x by 2. Am I right? Okay, don't ask me how. You have already done your trigonometry. Okay. So now there is a sine square x by 2. If there is sine square x by 2, I need x by 2 square to neutralize it. Now this word neutralize is something which I normally use because in order to convert it to a standard form, we need that term. Okay. So I'll make use of the word neutralize for that, just like acid-base neutralization. So in order to make it 1, I need x by 2 the whole square, which means x square by 4. So what I'll do is I'll multiply and divide with a 4. Now this structure here would become a 1. Okay. Remember the broader interpretation? So answer will be 2 by 4, which is actually a half. Okay. Now every result which I am sharing with you, please note, you can always generalize this. So in general, this no textbook will mention this. Okay, no textbook mentions this, but this is something which is for your understanding. In general, if you have 1 minus cos of any function by the very same function square, where this function satisfies this criteria that as x tends to a, it becomes a 0, then this answer will again be a half. Okay. So please note these two criteria must be met. The same function must be here and here, and your function must be tending to 0. Are you getting my point? I think I have some questions. Sir, could you show the tan x part for a second? Can we write f0 is equal to 0? I mean, see, many a times f0 will be 0. Sometimes the limit of the function, see, f0 equal to 0 is covered under limit of f of x as x tends to a. equal to 0. So what I'm doing, Madhav, is I'm using a more broader term so that later on you should not say, sir, you said fa should be 0, and here the limit of f of a is 0. And they're not the same things. You already know from the last class that they're not the same things. So even if your limit tends to 0 as x tends to a, right, this rule will still work on it. Is that fine? Okay. Just quickly adding on to the formula list so that we can spend more time on solving questions. I think this was fourth one. So fifth one, even though it might not be done in school also, sine inverse x by x as x tends to 0, this will also be 1. Now what is the proof for this? The proof for this is very easy. Let's say if you call sine inverse x as theta, then x will become sine theta, right? So as x tends to 0, even your theta will tend to 0, right? So this entire problem converts to limit of theta tending to 0, theta by sine theta, which is just the reciprocal of what you saw just now. So that limit will still be 1. That limit will still be 1. Okay. Now I'm not saying the general perspective of it. So the broader perspective is you need not have an x here. You can have any function. Again, I'm repeating, you can have any function here, but the same function should be down there also in the denominator. And you need not have x tending to 0. You can have x tending to any a non-zero quantity also. But this function as x tends to a should become 0. Ultimately, you want to see a 0 by 0 form. Then only you can work on it. Okay. A 0 by a non-zero form is straight away 0. And a non-zero by 0 form is not defined. You cannot evaluate the limit. Limit doesn't exist. Okay. Limit will only work when it is tending to 0 by tending to 0 form. Dear students, these are very small things, right? But when it comes to solving questions, you will see how many mistakes you people make today in the solving questions. So even this is going to be 1. In the same way, I'm not going to prove it. Fine. Let's take questions. Let me just take 1 or 2 questions before I give you a break. I understand it's a break time for you. But I would not leave this without taking any question. That would be not a good idea. Let's start with this question. Let me put the poll on. Oh, Shashwat, do you want me to go back? Oh, it's done. Okay, cool. Okay, I'll give you half a minute more. Just 7 of you have responded so far. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please vote. Please vote. Please vote. Very good. Very good. Just 9 of you left. I request those 9. Please vote ASAP. Okay. I'll stop the poll. Mixed response actually, because I can see substantial amount of vote being cast for all A, B, and C options. Okay. However, B has got the most number of votes. Let's check. Let's check. See, as x tends to 0, the numerator, if I'm not mistaken, see, all of you know your basic identities. 1 minus cos A is 2 sine square A by 2, right? We all know our basic trigonometry. Okay. So when we do an under root here, remember this result will give you root 2 mod sine A by 2. Right? This is very important because it may cost you the problem also sometime. Okay. Many people, they do not pay heed to the fact that under root of something square is mod of that something, right? 90% of the people, despite telling them, they just write the same thing down. Let me tell you, this will cost you the problem sometimes. Okay. So here I will write mod root 2 mod of sine x square by 2. Okay. Denominator will become 2 sine square x by 2. That is fine. Now this mod will actually take a form when you know in which interval are you dealing with. Okay. So you cannot decide what this mod is going to take up. It all depends upon where are you dealing, which values of x are you dealing in. Okay. So let's say I want to evaluate the left hand limit. In left hand limit, x is tending to 0 minus. So if x is tending to 0 minus, can I say x square by 2 would be a positive quantity? Very small positive quantity. So sine of a very small positive quantity, or for that matter, sine of an angle which is in the first quadrant is positive value. Correct? So when I'm evaluating left hand limit, this mod sine x square by 2 will become sine x square by 2. Correct? Because you're dealing with positive value mod. Correct? So you'll say this will be true even if you're dealing with 0 plus also. 0 plus also x square by 2 would be a small positive quantity. So in both the cases, your mod will actually give you the same result, which is sine of x square by 2. So यहाँ पे बाल बच गए, right? Mod was not that significant. So even if you had written under root of 2 sine square A by 2 as just root 2 sine A by 2, you would get saved by chance of luck. Okay. But luck always doesn't favor. It turns. Okay. Now, root 2 and 2, they will cancel each other out, giving you 1 by root 2. Okay. So I'll remove it from here. Now let us talk about what do you need to neutralize. Again, I'm using the word neutralize. I hope you get my intention when I use the word neutralize. What expression do you need to neutralize sine x square by 2? Correct? X square by 2 only. Very good. So when I divide, I have to multiply also. Okay. Now, what expression do you need to neutralize sine square x by 2? You'll say x by 2 the whole square, right? So you'll have to multiply with x by 2 the whole square. Okay. Now see, this term will become a 1. This term will become a 1. Okay. And here x square will get cancelled. So see what you will see, root 2. 4 will go up, so it will become a 2. So answer will be root 2. Okay. X square also get cancelled. Remember, the denominator has a 4 which will go up. So 4 by 2, which is 2. And there's already a 1 by root 2 waiting outside. So it'll give you a root 2. Is it clear? Okay. So answer is root 2. Janta, was actually correct. Most of you, oh no, most of you said 2. Janta was wrong. Janta, Janta, no more Janardhan. Janta was wrong. Okay, let's take the next question. Okay, I'd like to take this question actually. The square bracket represents GIF. Dear all, let me reiterate this fact. Do not treat any square bracket as GIF unless until stated. Do not treat any curly brackets as functional part unless until stated in the question. Okay. Last time somebody called me in the middle of a test and is asking, sir, this curly bracket is fractional part or it is normal bracket? Are, is it written it is fractional part? If not, then it is a normal bracket. You don't have to call somebody to ask that question. Okay. So if there is a square bracket and they have mentioned that the square bracket represents GIF, then use it as a GIF. Else use it as a normal bracket. Okay, let me put the poll on for this. Let me see your response. Janta's response I want to see. Let's see what does Janta say. Please don't do that, Arjun. Actually, when your test is going on, I already have a class schedule, so I don't, anyways, will not pick up the call. See, in any JEE exam, in fact, in any school exam, you'll always be asked to use your discretion. Even if the question is wrong, there are chances, there are situations when questions are wrong. Students are asked to use their discretion because if bonus marks will come, it will come for all those people. Good. 3 of you have responded so far. It's actually a conceptual question. I mean, either you know it or you don't know it. It can be solved within either 30 seconds or you'll not be able to solve it. Okay. This is like a theory question of maths. Okay. So all the options have got some responses. Good to see that confusion. What, sir? Good to see that confusion. You're making us confused and being happy about it. Yes, because if this confusion gets resolved today, you'll never have it tomorrow. Okay, last 15 seconds. Last 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please go, please go, please vote. Okay. Good. Now, A and B have got equal number of responses. Okay, then C and then D. Okay, good. Guys, here I would like you to understand one simple thing. Again, what did I tell you? JEE will test you on your understanding of the derivation of that formula. Correct? Let me go back a couple of slides. Just a couple of slides. No, not this one. The one where I was talking about pinching theorem. Yeah. Did you notice that I had written this expression over here? This is a very important expression. I don't know how many of you made a note of it, but if you haven't made a note of it, please make a note of it right now. Okay. When X is a slightly positive quantity, or in fact, you can say a very small quantity, you would realize that sin X will be less than X and X will be less than tan X. Okay. Now, how is this helpful in solving the question that I'm talking about right now? Now, see here. When you're tending to 0, remember sine theta will be slightly less than theta and theta will be slightly less than tan theta. Okay. So if I take this expression, can I say sine theta by theta will be slightly less than 1? Correct. And from this expression, can I say tan theta by theta would be slightly greater than 1? Okay. I would actually like you to see this graph also, because many people complain that, sir, in my school, they never showed the graph of sin x by x or tan x by x. I would like you to see the graph of these functions. Okay. All of you, I would like you to see the graph of sin x by x. It's a ripple. It's actually a ripple. Okay. It goes like this and then bigger ripple and then it dies down. Okay. So remember, at this position 0, it is undefined because sin x by x as x tends to 0 is undefined. So there will be a small hole over there. Okay. Just after this point and just before and after this point, your graph will fall below 1. So this hole is exactly at 1. That hole is exactly at 1. But in reality, when you're close to 0, whether you're coming from left side or whether you're coming from right side, you would realize that sin x by x will actually be less than 1. Are you getting my point? So if you go slightly ahead or slightly behind 0, x equal to 0 point, you would realize that sin x by x will be slightly less than 1. Okay. So here a direct question can be framed. What do you think is the limit of GIF of sin x by x as x tending to 0? What is your answer? I would like you to type the answer on the chat box. Let's see who gives me the right answer. Very good class. 0. Okay. 99% of the students will write this as 1 and come back. Correct? Just because they have this idea in their mind that I have to put the limit inside and that will give me 1. Okay. And GIF of 1 is going to be 1. It doesn't work that way, my dear. It doesn't work that way. Okay. This is where JE will trick you, because JE knows everybody will know what is sin x by x, x tending to 0. Okay. Now, going back to the question. In fact, let me clarify one more thing here. Tan x by x graph. That also you should see here. Since we have come to this position, we should see tan x by x graph also. It is infinitely stretching graph actually. Let me show you. Okay, it is like this. Now, at this point, there is a hole, because tan x by x as x equal to 0, it is undefined. Okay. Slightly more if you go to the right or to the left, you are salpa more than 1. You are slightly more than 1. So tan x by x is slightly more than 1 when you go to the right or left of 0. Are you getting my point? So if somebody says, what is the limit of GIF of tan x by x as x tends to 0, then your answer will remain, this will remain 1. Unlike the sin x by x case. Are you understanding this minute difference? Okay, no problem, Shreyas. I think you can follow up from here only. So I was telling the class. No. It is not GIF of the whole thing. It is not GIF. It is GIF of the function only. There's a difference between doing the GIF of the function and GIF of the whole limit. I'm not doing GIF of the whole limit. I'm doing GIF of the function. Okay. So let me summarize what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say here is that if you take GIF of sine theta by theta as x tends to 0, your answer will be 0. But if you take GIF of tan theta by theta as x tends to 0, your answer will be 1, because in reality, this quantity is slightly lesser than 1. This is slightly lesser than 1. Slightly lesser than 1. Okay, let's say 0.99999. The moment you take the GIF, the function will drop to 0. If your function drops to 0, whether you find left hand limit or right hand limit of that, your answer will be 0, my dear. Okay, let me show you the graph of sin x by x GIF also. Probably that will make more sense to you. Okay, so let me make the graph of sin x by x. Ayyo Ramakrishna. Yeah, you see this flat line, my dear? Correct. So if somebody says, what is the left hand limit and right hand limit as x tends to 0 here? You'll say 0 only, no? Correct. And if I do floor function of tan x by x, then see what will happen. What is wrong with me today? Y capital, yeah. Yeah, I'll hide this so that you can appreciate it. Okay, now see, tan x by x GIF. Do you see before 0 and after 0, it is stagnate at 1. It is stagnate at 1. Stagnated at 1. Okay, so this will be 1. Now got the point, those people who were asking questions. Okay, now coming to the question, we have not yet solved the question. We have just done the basics, but this basic was very important. Now if you see sine theta by theta, sine theta by theta is less than 1. Correct. So if I multiply n here, this will be less than n. If I take GIF, let me write it in the next step. If I take GIF of sine theta by theta, it will actually become n minus 1, my dear. Correct. Now people ask me, say less than n, why n minus 1 only? Why not n minus 2? Why not n minus 3? Because you're very slightly lesser than n. Very slightly. Are you getting my point? So it will drop to the next integer after n, which is n minus 1. Right? So even if you take the limit theta tending to 0 of this quantity, it will be n minus 1. Similarly, GIF of n tan theta by theta as theta tends to 0 will remain in n. So what is the question asking you? The question is asking you the sum of these two. So your answer will actually be n plus n minus 1, which is 2n minus 1. Option number C was correct. Janta, again wrong. Only 24% people said C. It is because the concept was not clear. Because yes, the question was definitely a trap. Getting my point? This is how you will be tested. Okay. That's what I wrote to Anurag. N and n minus 1. Adding will give you 2n minus 1 only, no? Clear, Anurag? Okay. One more question I would like to do, and then we'll take a break. Again, another eye-opener question. See, I told you, the concepts are very easy, but when it comes to application, most of you would make a mistake. And that is what is happening. Most of you are making mistakes there. Let's do this question. I would like to see your response. Arey Baba, n, a quantity slightly greater than n, Anurag, if you take the GIF, won't it become n? 99.000001. What is the GIF of that? 99 only, no? So one is giving you n, other is giving you n minus 1. So together the answer is 2n minus 1. That is what I got. Yeah, let me put the poll on for this. Arey, no need to say sorry. Yeah? No need to say sorry. We are all learning here. There's no sorry. There's no scope of sorry in learning. It is your right to get your doubt clarified. Somebody has jumped to option. Okay, I'll not name the option, else most of you will mark that. Okay. Sorry for holding you back. I'm sure most of you are hungry. Sir, you are switching your camera and having some food, and we are hungry over here. Can you resend the poll? I can't do that, Pranav, because then I have to end the poll, which will make others lose the. People can see the poll. If you. Yeah, okay, no problem, Pranav. You can put it on the chat box. One minute has gone by. 4 of you have responded so far. I'll give you 1.5 minutes for this. More than 1.5 minutes. So you have 2.5 minutes in all together. One more minute. See, Himanshu, what we did was we learned directly sin x by x extending to 0 is 1, right? But in reality, sin x is slightly less than x. Okay. So when a question comes like this, what is the limit of GIF of sin x by x? Then you are actually finding GIF of a quantity which is slightly less than 1. Let's say 0.9999999 like that. So the GIF of that will actually become a 0. That is what I was explaining in the class. Okay. Similarly, we learned tan x by x extending to 0 is 1. But in reality, tan x is slightly more than x. So tan x by x will be slightly more than 1. So the GIF of that will actually become a 1. That is what I was explaining in the class. Now got it clear, Himanshu? Okay, good. Dear all, let's stop in another 10 seconds. So those who have not marked their options on the poll, please do so. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, 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 go. Jaldi karo. Okay. All right, so most of you have gone with option A, that is 1 by 4. Okay, let's discuss this problem. Now, the best way to solve this problem is, what I will do is, first I will rationalize it. So I will multiply and divide with under root of 1 plus under root sine 2x. Okay, I'll multiply and divide with under root of 1 plus sine 2x. Okay, so this guy will go inside and create a lot of damage. So this will go inside and become 1 minus square of this under root term, which is under root of 1 minus sine x. No problem with that. Denominator will have pi minus 4x. Now this guy is a poor guy, innocent person, harmless person, right? So I would recommend put pi by 4 and take it out. Don't unnecessarily put that term into trouble. Okay, so when I put pi by 4, it becomes 1 plus 1 under root, which is root of 2. Correct. So 1 by root 2 will come out. Okay. Please do not involve such terms which are not giving you 0 because they are harmless, right? Put them out. Okay. Now, yeah, Madhav, you got the trick actually. Yeah. Okay. Now, when I'm dealing with such cases, I normally, try to convert it to tending to 0 type of limit because I find it more convenient to deal with. But it is up to you actually. I mean, many people who have a broader perspective, they would say I can manage without that also. So that is absolutely your call. Okay, so what I would do is I would convert this to a tending to 0 type of limit. So I'll call it as pi by 4 plus h, and I'll say h tending to 0. So this entire limit will restructure as this. Okay, it's just for convenience. It just makes my life more easy because all my standard limits, other than that standard algebraic limit, was all tending to 0, tending to 0, tending to 0 kind of limit. So connecting to those limits it happens quickly. Our brain immediately connects to those formulae. So this will become sine pi by 2 plus 2h. Sine pi by 2 plus 2h is actually cos 2h. So 1 minus cos 2h. Denominator will become minus 4h. Okay, so this will become minus 1 by 4 root 2 limit h tending to 0 under root of 1 minus cos 2h by h. Now this step is very critical. I would like everybody to pay attention here. 1 minus cos 2h we all know is 2 sine square h. Correct. So under root of this will give you under root 2 what mod sine h. And if you had not written this, then your answer will definitely go wrong. Okay, we'll see how it becomes, how does it make a lot of difference to your answer. So first of all, this root 2 and this root 2 gone, so you'll have minus 1 by 4 limit h tending to 0 mod sine h by h. Now see, let us evaluate. Now somebody was asking, no, in the beginning of today's class, so when do you evaluate left hand limit, when do you evaluate a right hand limit? Okay, now this is the case where that element of doubt will come in my mind, because when h is negative, mod sine h will give me a different output. When h is positive, mod sine h will give me a different output, right? So it is one of those occasions where I would evaluate my left hand limit and right hand limit. Getting my point? Okay. Yeah, I'll move to the left. Somebody wanted me to move to the left. I think Shreyas. Okay. Now see, everybody, please pay attention. Now I will evaluate the left hand limit for it. For left hand limit, I will take my h is tending to 0 minus. When I'm slightly less than 0, sign of that quantity would be a negative value. What will mod return then? Mod will return negative sine h to me, right? The denominator h will remain h. Okay. Now this sine h by h, as h tends to 0, minus will become a 1. That we have already seen in our graph also of sine x by x. So your total answer will become 1 by 4 over here. Getting my point? But if you're evaluating the right hand limit, all of you please pay attention. Here is the game changer. When you're evaluating right hand limit, your mod of sine x will remain sine h, because sine h will already be a positive quantity. So mod will do nothing to it. It will return sine h to you. So sine h by h as tending to 0 plus is again a 1. So your answer will be minus 1 by 4. My dear friend, left hand limit, right hand limit do not match. What is the answer then? Answer is does not exist. I told you Janta will make mistakes. Let me see, only one person had answered that. Remaining all of you made a mistake. This is because you underestimated the power of mod. I told you it will cost you the question if you don't, take care of it. So answer is it doesn't exist. This is a big eye-opener question actually, so as to say. Yes. Okay.
So
And
can you repeat it once? Just
yeah, sure, definitely.
last few
Yeah,
steps.
I'll definitely repeat this. So after this, I think before this, everything is clear, no?
Yes, sir. After the
After this, what I did,
1
I
minus
wrote a
cos 2.
mod. Yeah. So now when mod comes, mod brings different definition under different intervals, isn't it? So when I'm dealing with h tending to 0 minus, means I'm dealing with small negative values of h. So mod sine h will become negative sine h then, because sine h itself is a negative quantity. So negative of a negative will become a positive. So this will have a negative quantity. So negative sine h will come out. Now negative and negative makes a positive. So this will go off, and sine h by h as h tends to 0 minus. See, sine x by x as x tends to 0 minus or x tends to 0 plus, both will be 1. That's how the limit exists actually, right? If they both had been different, sin x by x extending to 0 equal to 1 would not have been a true statement, isn't it? So sin h by h, h tending to 0 minus, that is also 1. Okay. So 1 into 1 by 4 will give me a 1 by 4. But what about when I'm dealing with small positive values of h? In that case, your mod of sin x, your mod of sin h will give you just sin h. Now, don't do anything with h here. Many people do many people do this mistake. They will make h also as minus h. No, there is no mod on h. Don't disturb that h. Let that h stay in peace. Okay. Okay. So that h will remain h. Numerator will just become sin h. So as h tends to 0 plus, again this answer is 1. So 1 into minus 1 by 4 will give me a minus 1 by 4. So left hand limit answer was coming plus 1 by 4, right hand limit answer was coming minus 1 by 4. And since they are not equal, limit will not exist. Okay, I'll do one small thing. I'll show you the graph of this. Okay, in fact, I'll show you the graph of under root of 1 minus this. I'll show you this graph. Okay. In fact, I would like you to see this graph as x tends to pi by 4, this whole graph. Somebody please, can you help me to type it out? Somebody can dictate to me what was the question. 1 minus sine 2x to the power half, right? Power 0.5 whole to the power 0.5, correct? Divided by, whole thing was divided by, nobody's helping me. Pi minus 4x. Pi minus 4x. Okay. Now, You are evaluating the limit at x equal to pi by 4. X equal to pi by 4. Okay. As you can see, my dear students, there is at pi by 4, this is your pi by 4 point. There is a disparity in the answer. Left hand limit is giving you, if I'm not mistaken, this is very close to 1 by 4. This is very close to 1 by 4. Okay. Right hand limit, which is here, it is very close to minus 1 by 4. So there is a jump discontinuity over here. Okay. If you want, I can hide this line for you. Okay. So there is a jump discontinuity over here, and because of that, the limit doesn't exist. The limit does not exist. Make sense? Pranav is typing. I wanted somebody to speak out. Never mind, Pranav. Thank you. Thank you so much for the help. So with this, we take a small break. Okay, let's start with this question. Tan cube x minus tan x by cos x plus pi by 4, x is tending to pi by 4. Now here you would realize again it's a 0 by 0 form. The numerator becomes 1 minus 1, denominator becomes cos pi by 2. Okay, let's evaluate this. I'll put the poll on. If you feel at any stage that your answer is not matching with the given options, then please put it on the chat box. You don't have to press on any poll button just because you have to press on something. So just let me know if you feel none of the options are matching. We'll discuss, we'll see. It may happen that some of the options may not be the right ones. Okay, almost a minute gone. Only one person has responded so far. Okay, Aritra. Okay, Aditya. Last 1 minute for the problem. Last 30 seconds. Okay, Adrija, acknowledged. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 3 people have responded to me in the chat box because they're getting different answers, and 12 of you have responded on the poll. Okay, so only 16 of you have responded. You're not even getting an answer. Okay, anyways, let's discuss it. So according to the poll, the maximum option that has been pressed is 4, which is option number B. Okay, let's check. Let's check. See, first of all, many of you are in a hurry to put your x as pi by 4 plus h. That means many of you are in a hurry to transform your limit to tending to 0 type of limit. Okay, but I would recommend, if you can simplify before that, go for it. For example, here I can see I can take tan x common and I get tan square minus 1. Tan square x minus 1 can be written as tan x plus 1 into tan x minus 1. Okay. Okay. Now, let me tell you, this term and this term are harmless terms. Tan x and tan x plus 1 are harmless terms. Why I am calling them as harmless is because they don't tend to 0 as x tends to pi by 4. Okay, Advik, very good. Correct. So those terms can be taken out. So this is 1 and this is 2. So 1 into 2, 2 will come out. Okay. The problem is only in these two guys, tan x minus 1 and cos x plus pi by 4, because both become 0 as x tends to pi by 4. So the problem is hidden in these two terms only. Right. Now from here on, I can make the change of limit here. That means I can call x as pi by 4 plus h. So as x tends to pi by 4, h will tend to 0. So it will become limit h tending to 0, tan pi by 4 plus h minus 1 by cos pi by 4 plus h plus pi by 4. Okay. Let us use our trig compound angle identities. So this will become 1 plus tan h by 1 minus tan h minus 1 upon, what is cos pi by 2 plus h? Cos pi by 2 plus h is minus sin h. So minus I'll keep outside and sin h I'll keep here, over here. Okay. Let us take the LCM on the numerator. LCM on the numerator will give me 2 tan h by denominator will be 1 minus tan h, and this is a sin h. Okay. Now, this is again a harmless term. This is again a harmless term. So as h tends to 0, 1 minus tan h will become a 1. So you'll end up getting limit 2 tan h. 2 also can be brought out. So I'll make it as minus 4. You'll get tan h by sin h. Right? Now each one of them needs an h to neutralize it. So divide by h both the numerator and denominator. So this will become a 1. This will become a 1. So your answer will actually be a minus 4. Okay. So those students who replied to me on the chat box, all of you were absolutely correct. The answer is actually minus 4. I wanted to see how many of you are pressing on the poll without, solving it. Okay, so please never deviate from your understanding. Just because option doesn't have that particular answer that you get, it doesn't mean you will answer anything that you like. Okay. So this, if at all a question like this comes, you'll get a bonus marks if you mark any of the options, but answer is actually a minus 4. Is that fine? Any questions? Can you scroll down? Yes. Okay, done. No, we don't substitute h as 0. Oh, you are asking about this guy, 1 minus tan x. Yes, there we substitute. But for tan h and sin h, you divide by h and h, and then you take the standard trigonometric limits. Both are 1, right? So you get 1 by 1 and minus 4. Got it, Anurag? Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah, let's take this one. Again, I'll put the poll on for the same. Very good. Again, please make a note here. The terms which are harmless, you don't have to entertain them. Okay, bring it out of the picture. No worries, Swaraj. We'll solve this. Don't worry. Almost 2 minutes over. Let me give you 1.5 minutes more because only 2 of you have responded. You got a different answer? Okay. Please type your answer in the chat box so that we can discuss. Last 30 seconds. Too long. Expression, not a value. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please vote. Please vote. Okay. Very few of you have responded, by the way. I think there was a lack of confidence in solving this question. Only half of you have voted. But I'll show you the voting results. Almost equal number of votes. Okay, so C and D have got maximum number of votes. Let's check. See, again, don't be in a hurry to make x as pi by 2 plus h. Of course, we will do that step, but don't be in a hurry to do that, because if you do that, your expression will become very, very ugly. What I will do first is, I'll just work out with this guy. Okay, 8x cube minus pi cube is actually 2x cube minus pi cube, isn't it? Which is actually a minus b into a square plus ab. plus b square, correct? Okay. Now, this guy, of course, when x tends to pi by 2 will become 0. So this is a problem creating term, whereas this is a harmless term. Okay, let me write it like this, harmless term. Okay. So what I do is, before I go on for any kind of, applying of my standard limits cases, I'll break this guy as 2x minus pi. Okay. This term, when you put pi by 2 here, you will all realize that this will give you pi square, pi square, pi square. So 3 pi square will come out. That's absolutely a harmless term. You don't have to unnecessarily involve it in the question. Okay. Denominator also you can write it as 2x minus pi to the power 4. Yeah, I flipped the order of it because power of 4 doesn't matter even if I write 2x minus pi or pi minus 2x. Now, all the terms involved here, they are all problem creating terms because each one of them becomes 0, 0, 0, 0 as x tends to pi by 2. Okay. But remember, this guy was not a problem creating term. So I evaluated it as 3 pi square and I brought it out of the expression. Now here begins our real analysis. So now I'll put x as pi by 2 plus h. So h will tend to 0. So it will become limit h tending to 0. 1 minus sine pi by 2 plus h will become 1 minus cos h. Okay. 2x minus pi will become 2h if I'm not mistaken. Correct? Cos of pi by 2 plus h will become minus sine h. So minus I'll keep outside and sine h over here. And down in the denominator, I will have h to the power of, or you can say 2h to the power of 4. Okay. So one of the 2h will go off. So it will become 2h cube. Okay. 2h cube also, I will write it as 8 outside. And let's keep the h cube inside. So it will be 1 minus cos h into sine h by h cube. Okay. H cube, I will write it as h and h square. I'll separate it out. Why did I do that? Why did I do that, Sep? You say, sir, simple, because you knew that 1 minus cos h by h square will become a half. And sin h by h as h tends to 0 will become a 1. So automatically the answer that you get from here will be this, which is actually minus 3 pi square by 16. Okay. So option D is correct. Option D is correct. Let us see how many of you voted for D actually. Oh, maximum of you voted for D, but at the same time, C also got maximum number of votes. Okay, so Janta was actually correct. Sure, Madhav, sure. Done? All good? See, Hariharan, we actually should do it actually, but don't do it when it is present in addition or subtraction to some term. If it is present as a factor, then you can change your tan x or sin x with an x. Okay, but don't do when there is a, let's say, tan x minus sin x by x cube. Don't write it as x minus x by x cube and write the answer as 0. Are you getting my point, Hariharan? Transition from x to h, simple transition like we always do, changing x with pi by 2 plus h and h tending to 0. Okay, so this is what the entire expression will become. See, wherever you have an x, you have to put x as pi by 2 plus h. Madhav, try to understand it in that way. So 1 minus sine pi by 2 plus h, that becomes 1 minus cos h. This will become, now if you multiply throughout with a 2 here, it will become 2x is equal to pi plus 2h. Correct? Correct. So 2x minus pi is 2h. So 2x minus pi 2x minus pi is 2h. Cos pi by 2 plus h is sin h. And denominator will become 2h to the power of 4. It's a different thing that I cancelled it out and wrote it like this. Why do I normally convert it to tending to 0? I have already explained this before. It really helps me to connect to the standard limits. So looking at it, see, I looked at it and realized that, oh, this is half. Oh, this is 1. Are you getting my point? That's the main purpose of doing so. Why are you confused with the signs? Or sign of trig functions? That you have to do your pending worksheets. Array minus sin h, no, cos pi by 2 plus h will come in the second quadrant. Second quadrant will be negatives. That's why a negative sign comes out here. Got it, Madhav? Good. Let's take another one. I'll not pick up the difficult ones because yeah, this is an integer type question. F of x is 2 root 2 minus cos x plus sin x the whole cube by 1 minus sin 2x. Evaluate the value of root 2 times ln f of x, x tending to pi by 4. Yes, anyone? No response so far? Okay, Shashwat. Oh, so this result is after multiplying with root 2? I mean, the final result? Shashwat? Okay. Okay. Let's see. I'll give you 1 more minute, everybody. Whoever is trying to conclude their solution. Okay, Pranav, good. Okay, let's discuss this. Okay, Aditya. Now, before again going into the putting of x as pi by 4 plus h, I would request you to first look at this expression cos x plus sin x. Can we write it in the harmonic form? You'll say yes, in the harmonic form you can write it as sin x plus pi by 4 into root 2. Okay. So now let's look into this. So tending to pi by 4, we already have a root 2 outside. So 2 root 2 and cube of it. Cube of it will be negative 2 root 2 sine cube x plus pi by 4. Okay. Denominator is not going to be affected. Okay. Now let us write x as pi by 4 plus h. So your entire limit gets converted to root 2 limit h tending to 0. 2 root 2. 2 root 2 can be taken out common. So it will be 1 minus, correct me if I'm wrong, it will become cos cube h by 1 minus cos h. See, if you're replacing your x with pi by 4 plus h, you'll get sine cube pi by 2 plus h, which is cos cube h. No doubt about it. Denominator, sorry, cos 2h, sorry. Denominator will become 1 minus cos 2 into pi by 4 plus h. So what is sine of 2 into pi by 4 plus h? Obviously, it is sine pi by 2 plus 2h, which is actually cos 2h again. Okay, so that's what I've done in the denominator. Okay, no problem with that. Now, this will become a 4. Okay. And this term, if I'm not mistaken, it is actually 1 minus cos h into 1 plus cos h plus cos square h. Okay. So as h tends to 0, remember one thing, this will become 1, this will become 1, this will become, this anyway is a 1. So that is a harmless term. So 12 will come out. Okay. So 3 will come out, multiply with a 4 and become a 12. No doubt about that. Now we're left with these two problem creating terms. Okay. Now not to worry, we'll provide them what they want. Okay. Let's neutralize them by providing them what they want. So 1 minus cos h would need an h square to neutralize it, isn't it? So I'll multiply and divide with h square. Right? 1 minus cos 2h will need a 2h square to neutralize it. So we'll multiply and divide with 2h square. Correct? Yes or no? Now this would become a half. This would become a half. They will cancel each other out. So nothing to write there. H square and h square here will get cancelled and give you 12 by 4. Answer is 3. Answer is 3. Aditya, I think, why are you getting 6? It would be difficult to do that actually, Shreyas, because then, see, I can do it without that also. But what will happen? You will replace all the x's with pi by 4 plus h. So as a result, you will expand cos pi by 4 plus h. You'll expand sine pi by 4 plus h. Okay. Then you'll collate the result. Then you'll cube it. That would be a lengthier task. Definitely you can do it without using harmonic form. Harmonic form is just a convenient way to get the problem done. Correct, yes. So you try this out. You try this out. Okay. And let me know whether you're getting the result. Yeah, see, something that confuses you, you have to work harder on it and overcome it. You cannot say, I'll not do it. Okay. So you cannot run away from the situation. You have to get better at it. Right? We all are fighters. We have to come back strong at it. Sir, how did you get? Now I have to go back again. See, 2 root 2, 2 root 2 here comes out, no. And there's already a root 2 in the question. See, this root 2 is already present in the question. Hariharan. So root 2, 2 root 2. That becomes 4. Okay, Hariharan. Clear? Okay. Yeah. A little while ago, I told you don't assume square brackets to be GIF till mentioned, and you violated the same thing just 5 minutes after that. Don't do that. See, it's when a teacher says it, you should take it with a lot of seriousness, because I have seen this from the last 12 years. You're probably seeing it for the first time. I know each and every move of yours which will end up to the wrong result. Okay. Let's take this question. IIT JEE 1999. I think even before you were born. Yeah, Madhav, for that you need to see the harmonic form video on trigonometry. So there's one of the lectures, I think it is the third last or the second last lecture, where I discuss the harmonic forms. How to convert it to harmonic form. Just see that lecture. I think so. I mean, I don't know whether you were exactly present on that day or not, but there's already a recorded lecture which I have shared with the group regarding conversion to harmonic forms. Okay, sorry, I didn't put the poll on. Let me put the poll on. Some of you have solved it. There you go. Okay, good. One person has responded. Time is running out. I'll give you 1 more minute for the same. Unfortunately, we could not do exponential and logarithmic limit, but definitely the next class will do those limits. And I would try to complete the chapter in the next class and start with the next one. Last 20 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one, go. Okay. For a change, let's discuss this problem through expansions, right? So you will be thinking, sir, you gave us so many expansions, you didn't even use one of them to solve a question. Okay. So I don't want you to leave with that feeling. By the way, most of you have said option C, That's half. Okay, so I'll do this problem with a small twist. I'll do it with expansions. Okay, so that you realize that even expansions are there for some purpose. See, what I'll do is, I already know tan x expansion, right? All of you can turn back to the page where we had discussed the Maclaurin series expansion. In the tan x expansion, just replace everywhere x with 2x. That will give you tan 2x expansion. Simple as that. Okay, because many people say, sir, you never gave us tan 2x expansion. I don't have to give you expansions for all those things, because you can just, change your x with 2x to get the expansions of tan 2x. Okay, so it is 2x plus 2x cube by 3. In fact, I can write more terms, but I will not write it because I don't need it. Okay. Similarly, x cube by 3. More terms could be there, but I don't need it. Down in the denominator also you have 1 minus cos 2x expansion is what? 1 minus 2x square by 2 factorial. Okay. Plus 2x to the power 4 by 4 factorial, and so on. Okay. If you open the brackets, if I open this bracket inside, okay, let me just close it first. If you open the bracket, you will end up losing this 1 and all the signs will get reversed over here. So if I open the bracket, again, don't ask me how did I write that step. I'm doing the changes over here. So 1 will go off. This will become a plus. This will become a minus. Anyways, plus, and this will become a minus. Correct? Is that clear? Okay. Now on the numerator, you will see that all the x terms multiply with this. So x into 2x and minus 2x into x will give you 2x square each. That will cancel out. The next term we will get will be 8x to the power 4 by 3. Next term will be minus 2x to the power 4 by 3. Okay. And I will have higher powers of x, which I don't need to write because anyways they will all tend to 0 as x tends to 0. Down in the denominator, if you check, this will become 4x square. So if I take x to the power 2 out, it will become x to the power this thing. So we'll have 4 by 2. Okay. Rest other terms will be containing x. Containing x. Okay. Now I'm purposely not writing it because I don't need them. So this x to the power 4 and this x to the power 4 is gone. Now you are safe to substitute. When you're substituting, you get 8 by 3 minus 2 by 3 whole divided by 2 square, which is 4. So your answer will be 6 by 3 by 4, which is actually 1 by 2. Answer for this question is 1 by 2, option number C. Right? So do you realize that even expansions are worth trying out? It may save a lot of time for you. Okay. So with this, we stop here. We'll conclude the standard trigonometric limit with this. Next class, we'll talk more about very interesting limits. Okay.